Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of In Charge of the Girls.
Hello,
I'm Tyrone, if you don't know.
I'm Kelly, if you also don't know.
And yeah, we have a lot we want to get into this time around, so we're going to keep the intro short.
Hmm.
We already know what the weather's like. It's giving back and forth. It's giving you need to pick a side. Is it Ushiwali? Is it one mic girl?
We in
Because,
the
like,
wrong
80
timeline.
degrees, 30 degrees the next day. Like, absolutely chill the fuck out.
I
Cause
mean,
you
but it is still winter. I saw y'all out in y'all shorts, and I'm like, it's not even spring yet. It is
No,
still
because
winter.
New York got like 12 seasons, and
Yeah,
we are in like, fake spring number
right.
two. We're gonna have an actual real spring, probably like for May for two and a
About to
half
say,
weeks.
our real spring is way closer to summer than everybody else's.
Literally, it's right before June,
Right.
and then once you hit June, it's
It's
like
hot as hell.
off to the races.
Yeah.
But yeah, so the weather's what it is. Oh, very quickly, we doesn't tie into anything else we want to talk about. I believe that our gay vampire romance is back this summer. Um,
Oh, for real?
yes, we're talking about. Well, actually, the new one has the second season is called The Vampire Lestat.
It's
Uh,
following the books.
yeah, so the first season they called it The Interview with the Vampire, but I personally did not know until literally like the end of the season that story was just about some gay ass vampires.
A lot of people did like
I
that.
did not know until I watched it.
Interview with the Vampire is a good show. It was on AMC Plus, so a lot of people don't really have it. But I'm telling
Yeah,
you, even it's just the story. It's really good. If you enjoyed Interview with the Vampire, the original movie, it's based off of that. The character,
but
it's
just done
actually
better.
yeah, it's done better. Actually, it's actually the movie in a series form done way better.
Yes, because that I didn't realize like you really got to let that story breathe. Like to put that in the 2.5 hour movie, like they
And
did.
they switched Claudia's on us. And me personally,
Yes,
I preferred the first Claudia. Second
I
Claudia's
did. I
okay,
think she had a
but
little bit more
she
emotional
had more.
oomph.
The first Claudia was a little bit more, with the spice.
Yes, yes, but it is back. I think it's like June 6th or June 7th. So, just be prepared because I'm gonna have a lot to
That's
say
it's
about
a.
that show.
I
It
love that
was
show.
that first season. Actually, they're
Excellent.
on like 2 or 3 seasons now.
Yeah, I think this is yeah.
Yeah, so like there's a couple seasons in now, and like they kept that same
It's
energy throughout.
excellent.
It is so good. It's I'm
If you like vampire anything, if you're a vampire, this is like I want to say top five in the
yeah,
genre. Like
it is so
maybe
good.
top three.
I mean, obviously we gonna hit on Sinners in a second, but
Right.
like I just feel like they got New Orleans right. They got
Yep.
the times right with the racial
Mhm.
dynamics. They got a lot of the gay stuff right, which is
Mhm.
interesting because I didn't expect
And
that.
dope ass vampire. They was. It's not no little. It's not no True Blood vampires.
Absolutely not.
These are vampire
They are
vampires.
flying high in the sky. They
Yes.
are biting bitches in the
Yes.
neck,
Yes.
like eating rats, whatever it
Yes.
may be. They are doing all of it.
Yes.
So anyway, just wanted to throw that out there because I absolutely I love
Mhm.
sci-fi. I love the sort of genre of horror as well. So anyway, relatedly, now we're gonna get into the meat and potatoes of what we really want to talk about. I don't really have a lot to say about the BAFTA situation with Michael B. Jordan and Delray
Delroy
Lindo.
Lindo,
And
who is a Brit, but he's lived in the
yeah,
U.S. for a very long
in,
time.
in my mind, we have adopted
He
him.
of African American to us, but he's actually a
Yes,
Brit.
yes,
Yeah.
but because he don't really even claim
And
like the
he
UK
don't.
like that. To
He
be quite
don't.
honest, he's like, man, I ain't lived there in a
Yeah,
minute.
and he lives in the Bay Area, which anybody familiar with the Bay Area, only real people live in the Bay Area. Like LA
Yes,
got a little bit of everybody, but the Bay Area, that's a specific type of person. I
right.
fuck with the Bay Area very, very, very hard.
So everyone knows what happened at this point. It's I'm not. We don't need to rehash it. I do just feel like there are a couple things that I personally wanted to touch on that have sort of been talked about, but I feel like needs to be reiterated in this type of a space, which is that I remember the first time I really learned about Tourette's was um, if you remember, MTV used to have shows that actually were like entertaining but yet informative. One of the shows they
Yes,
had was True Life,
yes, very
and
good.
True Life was like early 2000s, maybe even late 90s. And it always just picked a topic that was like True Life, I'm getting married. True
Hmm.
Life, I'm overweight. Like
Right.
True Life, whatever it may be.
MTV has some programming low
They
key.
did. They
Yeah.
did. And they did a True Life. I have Tourette's,
Hmm.
or I think that's what the genre was or the topic was for that episode. And I remember specifically they had this like younger girl on there. She was probably like 18, 19. And it really talked about how so much of what she said and did was outside of her control, but it wasn't like she wasn't aware of it when it was happening.
Mm-hmm.
And so she really had to work with her mom to understand, like, hey, I understand you can't control your condition, but you can do certain things so that like you can be proactive, so the impact of what you do and say is not as bad as it could be. And so when you feel like you're about to have an outburst, she was like, you can go to another room. You don't have to sit here and call me a dumb fucking bitch to my face. Like, because it still hurts, regardless of if you can't control it or not. And so I just want to say that I'm very aware and familiar and have been for majority of my life of what Tourette's is and why, the disease, the condition impacts you a certain way. And so for this grown ass man at his big age to know that when he sees black people, that it triggers him to say nigga is insane.
No, he said nigger.
Nigger. It was a hard ER.
Yes.
To know that, and then to put yourself in this space and to be like, hey, maybe at a certain point I have to remove myself when I know that there will be black people, African Americans, whatever you want to call us, up on the stage so that I don't ruin their moment, so I don't embarrass them, so I don't make them feel bad. Like, yes, he knows it is an involuntary tick, but he also knows what causes and triggers those ticks. That's all I wanted to say about that. Like, black people, they should not have to just suck up being called the N-word to their face. That's just not how this goes. Like, what your condition is your condition, but you are still responsible for the impact of your condition. So that was part one. The next thing that I wanted to say about that is it was so nice to me that in the aftermath, the fallout of that, to see them go to the NAACP Image Awards, the whole cast was there, and, be like welcomed and affirmed and just in a space where they didn't have to explain everything that I just said. It was sort of like, we already know. Like, and matter of fact, we was gonna honor you anyway because Sinners was a good ass movie. And y'all did what y'all needed to be done. Like, I think people forget how much Sinners really took over the cultural conversation at the beginning of last year and stuck it out, well later into the year after that movie that came out. And it prolonged staying in the theaters because people kept wanting to go see it. They wanted to see it on the IMAX, I forgot whatever millimeter.
I saw it twice.
Like, I saw it several times as well. So, like, outside of this debacle, like, Sinners was already a cultural moment, and people were giving Ryan Coogler his flowers, the whole cast their flowers, to be quite honest. And so just to see, like, that was already going to happen probably at the NAACP Image Awards. But then, I think it was the next week is when, after all of the BAFTA stuff, when they got to that award show, and you can just see, like, in all of the speeches, when they were going up on stage, like, it just felt like real community. And I just wanted to call out the fact that it's so important for particularly black people to have spaces like that, to where they don't have to do a lot of explaining of who they are, and it's just more about giving people their flowers and showing appreciation for you being the best at your craft, you being really good at what you do, impacting the community. So I just wanted to get that out there. And then the other thing I wanted to say about that was just like Sinners itself. We're Oscars is going to tomorrow. And I just feel like it was a very interesting timing for all of this to play out the way that it did, because I didn't even realize, I thought Oscar voting was like done like 2 months ago. They could vote all the way up to the 5th of March. So we're talking like well into all of this drama playing out. And so I'm very curious if this is going to impact how people voted, knowing whether they fell down one way or the other, where they thought, there was overreaction, or if they were like, that's crazy that they would be subjected to that. They did an amazing job in that movie. So I'm really curious, especially with Michael B. Jordan being up for Best Actor. And obviously the movie itself is up for Best Movie, Ryan Coogler for Best Director. I think it's like has the most nominations of any movies this time for the Oscars. So just with all of that, I wanted to say that, this situation, it just highlights to me how white people will constantly try to figure out a way to justify racism and be like, well, everyone is a little racist. I'm like, no, Not like that. Like that's overt. That is blatant. Like yelling out N words. Like you can't be like, oh well, that could have been anybody. Like no, like you can't do this.
So Tyrone, that's his classy take. That's his. I'm not gonna say a lot, but this is where my little militant raisin comes out. I agree with everything you said. Here's what I want to say though, and this is not to blame Michael B. Jordan or Delroy Lindo at all, because I can't imagine in that
The moment, yeah.
moment, like you're warning us. It's like you said, this movie is magnificent. We're on stage, we're on national TV, and I am tired of, like you said, black people always having to have grace.
Mm-hmm.
We're always the ones that have to take it. We're always the ones that have to understand. Stop having grace. Stop doing it. Because how long have we been, listen, we've been trying to every which way to get along with these people and get these people to stop doing the things they have been doing since they brought us to these fucking shores. And they are still fucking doing it. It is 2026 and you are, this man yelled out, hard ER
multiple
times on national TV. You had
international
TV,
in London, knowing it was going to be played across the world.
You had the ability to edit it out, and you did not.
Yeah, so fuck the BAFTAs too for that.
Purposely wanted to disrespect and degrade those two black men on that stage. You did that on purpose, and I don't know if you thought it was funny. I don't know if you thought it would gather conversation. I don't know, but fuck you, whatever you thought. Cut that shit out, and we need to stop having grace, because had that been me, they would have been forced to edit that out, because I would have refused to continue until you move that man away from me. Move him out of my face. I understand Tourette's. I have something to say about why you always shouting nigger, because to me, if you would have shouted fat bitch, or like, why is it always a slur?
Right.
It's not, I'm not a Tourette's expert, not arguing with nobody. I'm just saying, if it's involuntary, you would kind of think that it would be something like short bitch, fat bitch,
Yeah, bumpy ass face,
pimply bitch. It's always a racial slur. That's all I'm saying. Number one. Number two, and this might be a little controversial, but the black Brits are always coming for us. How we don't have culture, and we don't this, and we don't know where we're from. And I'm from Liverpool, and you guys don't know where you're from, and where your grandfather from. They're always coming for us. We don't have culture. But you motherfuckers stood there and let that occur. And I'd be on the TikToks. I admit, I'd be on the TikToks. And all of you were like, oh, we're so glad that the African, because they do. We can't do it because we're British. We can't say anything. Y'all full of shit. They fucking treat y'all the way they treat y'all because y'all don't have the culture and the kickback that we have. And like we tell y'all, the whole world turns on us. When nobody not white in this world have anything if not for the African Americans. So fuck y'all, because 1 minute is we don't know who we are, we don't have a culture, and the next minute y'all getting behind us when we fight, because listen,
civil rights this, civil rights that. Martin Luther King.
So they get with it. Yeah, we've been getting with it since they brought us in 1619, and we the only people that made this country come off of any fucking thing ever.
Right.
Not the Latino. Not saying y'all didn't do y'all little thing.
Yeah, you got in the trenches at some point.
We the only ones that made these motherfuckers come off of anything, and and they trying to take it all away now. So that's all I want to say. Stop having grace, because the consideration, and this is a sidebar, what you said with Tourette's. You know why that man did that? Because we stopped. Used to be when you have mental disabilities, it used to be you were raised to still get on with it, to still know how to, hey, let me show you how to catch a bus. Let me show you how to count change. You had to adapt to the world because you had this handicap. If you were deaf, they taught you different. I don't know when it happened, sometime around the 80s or 90s, where this idea came that everybody just has to be inconvenienced for you because you have this thing. And I agree. If you know you are bound to yell out, number one, you could have we got Zoom and everything now. You could have took your award on camera. You could have walked yourself off, anything.
Right.
But you sat there because you feel like, well, I have Tourette's, and so if I offend anybody, then that's just an excuse and get me thrown out. And no, it doesn't work like that. It does not work. You don't get to just shout slurs and we just supposed to, oh, well, he has Tourette's. He gonna be Tourette's out the window if he don't get that shit under control or get the fuck out of here. So that's all I'm saying. We need to stop having, stop having so much grace, and we need to stop being so I don't know, accommodating, because
Yeah.
it's enough now. They done voted this fucking man in the office again.
Yeah.
It's 2026 and they still doing, they trying to go back to like it's 1950, 1960. We need to stop. We done tried the peaceful shit. We need to start making a fuss,
Yeah.
because that's really all they respect.
Yeah, I mean, because it wasn't even like they had to do it even, I mean, they could have done it disrespectfully, but they could have just said, hey, can you all handle this? And we will continue on as soon as this is handled.
As this is handled. Or just stand there in silence and not say nothing till they get him out of there.
Right.
You would have had to edit that moment. I'm not talking through this man calling me in. I'm just not. And again, this is not against them, but just going forward.
And yeah, I think that's you mentioned something that was very important, was that the BAFTAs had the ability to edit this out because it was on a 2-hour delay. And they edited other things out. When someone was talking about Palestine, it's just like,
they edited that out.
They're like, so, okay, you have the ability to pick and choose what you edit out, and to sit there and say you didn't hear it is insane.
You playing in our
like,
face is
y'all
what you're
have
doing.
people in the room. Like, y'all talk to each other. Like, I know how productions work. I've been at award shows. It is a big thing. It is not like one person making the call and being like, oh, I didn't hear it. Like, y'all have people in the room who heard that, and you thought that it wasn't that big of a deal.
Think they did that shit. They think we're stupid, and they think it's funny. I guarantee you they was in there snickering. Leave it in. Leave it in. Watch it.
It'll be a little viral moment.
Right.
And be like,
and that shit gonna get y'all punched in your face real soon.
And I think the fact that it happened multiple times, that's what really, once I realized it wasn't just like a one time and like it went away or he got it under control after that, when I was just, you have multiple people involved who, with Center specifically, who talked about how like when they were up or when they were like in a space and he did the same thing to them, I was like, okay, this is insane. You can't expect black people to just put up with that.
It's a lack of respect. It's a lack of respect for our humanity. Like you said, they edited the Palestine, which they should. I get a lot of shit for this, but I don't play the anti-Semitic shit either, because a lot of people forget that Jewish people were the only ones on our side for a long time. So I don't play that shit either.
Jesse Jackson talked about a lot. When, I mean, you're going to say something about Jesse in a second, but you know, you are right, is that the Jewish people stood by us, like,
and still do,
because
absolutely. They broke down the data of the last voting, and the white women who did vote for Kamala Harris, majority Jewish women, majority Jewish men of the white people that did vote for her. So they still, the ones their grandmothers maybe didn't make it back from World War II. So I don't, you know, I know there's been issues, but I don't play that either. So you should edit their slurs, and you should edit ours too.
Right. But anyway, that's really all I wanted to say about the BAFTAs. Y'all know what went down. You know why it was inappropriate. And if you didn't know, we just told you why. But going back to Jesse Jackson, I know that you had some words that you wanted to say now that his
I wanted to
correct
aired. Something. We made some errors. I watched Jesse Jackson's service. It was a great service, great speakers.
Right.
Let me tell you something. Al Sharpton moved some things around
he sure did.
in that service, okay? But what I wanted to say is I said prior that a lot of what he had done was before we were born. That's actually not correct. I forgot. So the reason why they had a speaker there, I can't recall his name, but he was a finance guy. And he got up there and he reminded us what Jesse Jackson did. And he was like, look, we were graduating from degrees from all these, and I forgot about this was the 1980s, not that long ago. We couldn't get jobs in these corporations. They weren't hiring us. We couldn't be on the boards. They weren't putting us on the boards. We had degrees. They just would not hire black people. And Jesse Jackson would go up in these companies and be like, y'all don't hire our people, we gonna boycott. And he did. And that's the 1980s. And so I just want to mention that because, you know, a lot of us now, we got little fancy degrees and we know everything and we work in these little fancy companies, and we used to make fun of Jesse Jackson and think he was a joke.
Yeah, the Rainbow Coalition.
But you're only there because of the work that Jesse Jackson did.
Yeah.
Jesse Jackson did that. And I know toward the end, like we mentioned, it might have got a little, all right, Jesse, we don't really care about the black people and friends, but that was toward the end. But that was just in keeping with what he was always doing, which was fighting tirelessly for our people. He never sold out.
No.
You never see him, you know, like some of these other people. And I just wanted to correct that. Actually, Jesse Jackson did. If you have a corporate job right now, if you want somebody's board right now, if you somebody's VP right now, if you was with them same credentials and qualifications in 1984, 1983, they wasn't hiring you.
Yep.
Jesse Jackson made that happen. So rest in peace to him.
Yes. Like you said, that was a very, very good service. And, you know, it was funny. Someone was trying to say, I don't know where I read it on the internet, but they were just like, oh, like, oh, they were talking about Kamala's speech, and they're just like, why is she making it about herself? Why is this getting so political? And it was sort of just like, do you know who Jesse Jackson was? Like, this is his legacy. This is what he did.
Jesse
like,
Jackson running for president, that's the other thing. Jesse Jackson running for president is directly responsible for Barack Obama being able to be elected president.
Hello?
Directly.
And
he said that himself at Jesse Jackson's
There's a through line
service.
through, like,
yes,
Shirley Chisholm, Jesse, all the way up to Barack. So, like, let's not pretend.
And to Kamala, who y'all refused to vote for, but who I think actually won the election.
Yes, and what was Isaiah Thomas?
Isaiah Thomas gave a good speech too.
Yeah, he was like,
and good for him because he was in Chicago. He had Detroit Pistons. They
right.
But he gave a really good speech too. I am somebody.
Yes, no, he did a really excellent job, and just overall, I think that it was a great reminder.
It really was.
Truly, like, the legacy of Jesse Jackson, and like to have, I mean, what was it, 3 official former sitting presidents there? Well, like, official. That's why I said official. We're not going to say, because that's why Isaiah Thomas was saying.
Thomas like 5. He said,
everybody. He said we got 5 presidents.
5. But that was funny because I noticed he was not the only one that said that.
Yeah.
And who was it that said we're going to make sure they stop their tricks and pointed right at Kamala? And I was like, people know that those motherfuckers.
Yeah, that was Al, right?
Was it Al?
Yeah,
yes.
He's like, stop
we're gonna stop the tricks in 26
and open the gates in 28.
I feel like people know that they did some bullshit with that election, and just for whatever reason,
it's openly talked about amongst that, Elon and them. Like, you're like, Elon got us the votes.
Right.
What do you mean Elon got us the votes, girl?
I think beyond that, I think they know. Even beyond that, like, they know.
Right.
That they did it. Maybe they can't prove it right at the moment or feel like it's no point now because we don't have the power. But I think they know specifically that something was done. That's what I think.
But yes, rest in peace to Jesse Jackson and all that he's done for the Black community. And speaking of the Black community, there's someone that I want to bring up. It's pretty unrelated to everything we've just talked about, but the through line to what I'm about to discuss has to do with the Black community and where this person sits in respect to the Black community. So let me skirt over to the mess in the reality world. So apparently, E.J. Johnson, the son of Magic Johnson, former NBA player, legend, he is known for basically just being sort of like a personality. He was on a reality show for a little while. And he's known for just being a very, I'm saying he. EJ uses they, them pronouns. So I would do my best to try to get that correct. But for the longest time, it was he, him. So, correct. I'm so sorry. I'm going to disrespect you in other ways. But I will not disrespect you with respect to your pronouns. So, EJ has sort of just been very flamboyant, and I've originally identified as gay, and it's now in this space of like androgynous, isn't actually trans, but wears, women like type of clothing or clothing that women normally wear.
So he's not trans?
No, they are not trans.
They are.
Yes, they are not trans. They are. They identify as a. I don't know. Can get quite complicated. So that's why I'm going to focus on just using their name.
Okay.
So EJ did an interview with Carlos King. If you don't know Carlos King, he is sort of like a reality legend in the fact that he brought us all of the housewife shows. At least the housewife shows that relate to like
Atlanta.
the black ones. So like Housewives of Atlanta. Basically, there was other reality shows that were mostly black cast. Oh, if you remember, I think was it R&B Divas? Like stuff like that.
Wives.
That could have been him as well, but I don't think he really works in that space anymore. He sort of just is a commentator now, and he does his own YouTube and stuff. And so he had E.J. Johnson on his show, and I don't know what the purpose of the interview was, to be quite honest, because I don't know what E.J. Johnson got going on.
Same.
But I was like, I saw things popping up. You text me about it. You were just like, hey, we got to talk about E.J. Johnson. I said, now what's going on with E.J.? And then I went and did my little research, my little Googles. And I said, now wait a second. What are you talking about? And so in this,
I was like, just watch the clip.
And in this interview, it's really long. It's like an hour and a half. It's really long. In this interview, essentially, they sort of talk about like, how EJ got to be in this, cultural zeitgeist, how everyone became aware of EJ. And then they started getting more into like the personal life of EJ. And that's where things sort of got very messy. And it was like, huh, hmm, that's one way to think about it. That's one way to present yourself. And I think the most salacious part, and the one that's getting articles written and everybody on the TikToks and the blogs heating up, is the fact that EJ says, again, they use they them pronouns. I don't know if they identify as male, whatever it may be. But if you were to look at EJ, you would think that they were a gay man based off of how they present.
I thought they were trans.
Yeah, I just thought it was like a very flamboyant gay man who, whatever. Apparently, even just going off that assumption, they only date. They say that they are not attracted to gay men. They are only attracted to straight men. And that's where I was like, huh.
Quotes.
I was like, let me go listen a little bit more because this sounds quite ridiculous. And I tried to empathize as much as possible with what they were saying. But what it sounded like to me was, I go into these spaces, and let's be really fucking clear, they're probably predominantly white spaces. So let's not get it twisted, because that's the other piece I'm going to tie into this. You're going into these, quote unquote gay spaces. You live in LA. You've been raised incredibly wealthy, in a little bubble of wealth. And so for you to sort of talk about like, well, I don't really go into gay spaces anymore, but just because like, I'm not appreciated. No one's attracted to me there. Like I just really date straight men. And then to have in the same conversation say, I don't really identify with labels. I don't think we should be using labels. Who's a dumb bitch says we don't use labels, but then goes on to say I only date straight men. What are you talking about? I thought nobody ain't got no labels, bitch. It's a person who
I hate a no label. I swear to God.
Oh my God! Like things have names. Things are categorized for a reason.
For reasons.
Like we have literally how we talk about the animal kingdom.
We gotta know what you're talking about.
Oh
girl.
my
we
God,
know there's gray area, but we gotta have something
different colors.
to
We
work
have
off
different
of.
cuisines. We have different stuff. Like, what are you talking about? You don't label, bitch. Anyway, I could really go on and on.
Pet fucking peeve.
My goodness, but just to sit there and talk about how I'm only attracted to straight men and straight men only appreciate me, and it's just like I'm so exhausted, and I didn't even watch the full hour and a half. I just watched like a smooth 15 minutes, but I did bop around to try to get some more context to see like how did we get to this point in the conversation? Because it's like 45 minutes into the conversation before they say that, and what I gather is this person is quite delusional, and that they also
I was gonna say
it's delusion, to be quite honest. It's delusion, and you have no sense of community because Carlos, people got a lot of shit to say about Carlos, but Carlos is actually doing a very good job with this interview and trying to pull out something real from EJ, and particularly trying to connect on like the black queer thing because Carlos identifies as a black gay man, and at every point in this fucking conversation, it seems EJ's just like, that's not me, girl. That's not me. Like I don't really get down with the blacks. I don't get down with the gays like that. And it was like so individualistic. It was like the only reason you think this way is because
you are rich and sheltered.
You are rich and sheltered, and no one's challenging you. You've curated your life to where there's no one to really hold you accountable. They talked about how, they told their father that they ain't no more your son this, your son that, boy this, boy that, It was like, what is this entitlement coming from? All you have to do is say, I prefer if you do X, Y, and Z. This is how I like to identify. This is how I live my life. No, the whole tone and tenure of that conversation was like, I'm the baddest bitch around. And I won't even get into the portion where apparently he said like, people don't like him because like he looks better than the black women. I was like, ooh, I'm not touching that with a 10-foot pole, baby. Because
I will. I'm just waiting my turn.
You have definitely crossed over into truly Delulu land if you think that you can take your 6'5" body, like, ain't
In
got
heels.
no work done on the body and sit there and be like, I look better than these black women. Are you insane? You cannot sit there and compare. you can look good. Doesn't get me wrong. Like, you can say like, I love how I look. I think I look gorgeous. Blah blah blah. But to then cross over and to then compare yourself to like black women is like, hey man, I'm saying man in a gender neutral way. Hey man,
hey my boy,
chill the fuck out, because again, it's giving delusion. It's giving no sense of accountability. It's giving. The reason I identify this way is because I don't actually feel a part of anything. The reason you don't feel a part of anything is because you've never been connected to anything real in your fucking life.
I was really interested in your so I catch a lot of stuff like this. I be on TikTok. I be on TikTok for lots of stuff, not just like everything is on TikTok. I know it's controversial, but like if you do your algorithm, you only see what you want to see. And so I usually catch this stuff. Like I would have had no idea either. Only reason I caught it is because all of a sudden, is Dominique Morgan?
Oh yeah.
She comes into my timeline sometimes. So. And she started talking about it, and then I just once if you listen to something for like a little bit, they'll start showing you other similar stuff. So I started seeing other people having opinions, and I was like, "What are they talking about?" So then I went to Funky Deneva. What is his real name? Because I cannot saying that.
Oh my gosh,
Quentin, and I usually watch his breakdown because I will never watch the whole video. So I watched his breakdown and his opinion, and so I was curious to hear yours because like. I'm glad you told me that EJ is not trans because I thought he was. They were.
God bless you. Bear with us. We are trying.
That pronoun shit
Please.
get on my nerves. Yes. So my opinion was that when you said delusional, that's what popped into my head. It gives you don't have your own identity. It's okay to be gay. It's okay to be trans if that's what the case is. But number one, I say delusional because EJ looks like a man in makeup with girl clothes on. And I don't mean that disrespectfully at all. I just want to say that a couple of the trans girls, not that EJ's trans, but a couple of the trans girls, because I've been to Thailand. I've seen the girly boys.
The lady boys.
The lady boys. Some of those motherfuckers, you gotta look really close because they look like women. But here in the States, and maybe because I'm a woman, maybe because I'm gay, I don't know, but I can always, you guys that call yourselves passable, I can always tell. Yeah. Not saying you don't look beautiful, not saying, oh, really good. It's just, I can always tell that the features are a little too sharp, the feet are a little too big, the hands are a little too big. It's just there are biological differences between even like the smallest of men and the smallest of women. Like men tend to have sharper jaws. That's why they have to do the makeup because they're trying to smooth that out. You know what I mean? So I can always tell. EJ looks like a man in drag to me. So for
even
him,
if EJ doesn't identify as a man,
that's
fine.
I'm saying he looks to me. If I was to, he looks like a man in drag, or he looks at the very most like a very very feminine gay man. So the reason because one of the angles that I've been hearing is that, I don't know if it's true or not, but supposedly, because listen, gay women, gay men, same but very different.
Yes.
Cultures are very different. And from what I understand on your side, femininity is like the least desired. Like most people want men that look, appear to be masculine, straight presenting, whatever you call it. And that femininity is like not desired. Now, this is where I get confused. Because to me, I've seen so many queens, one of the girls, dressed like men, but clearly gay, like the Elton Johns or whatever, clearly gay, dressed like men. So I wanted to know if that's true. But number two, what it gave to me was, and Funky didn't even say, Quentin said this, and I agree. It really gives, you don't love yourself. It's like self-hating gay.
There we go.
That's what it gives. Because number one, my opinion, any man attracted to you or chasing you, I don't give a fuck if you met them in Hooters. They are not straight by my definition of straight. Because straight men are not attracted to that. And I've heard some say, oh, they're attracted to femininity. Girl, no. Okay? That in my mind, it makes you queer. When I say queer, that's a category for in my definition. I don't know what the technical definition is for something that is not straight. Maybe you're not gay all the way, but you not straight. So I say queer. You know, maybe you like every now and then. You
Right.
know, you like to feel on some. I don't know, something special. You like to reach down there and feel something different. That's all I'm saying. Queer. So to me, that just gives self-hating. Whenever I hear a gay person, cause I hear studs do this too, brag about always chasing straight women or always being with straight men or the straight men or I look better than the women.
Oh
First of
my
all, no you
God.
don't. No you don't.
Please.
EJ, you not even
Exhausting,
no
man.
tea, no shade. You not even good looking for for whatever it is you trying to be, trans or not, no labels, whatever it is. T.S. Madison look better than you. Laverne Cox look better than you. That's probably the only two I know. but I'm sure there's others out there that look better than you. Your face, and we're not gonna make it a look thing, but just saying, you ain't better. You don't look better than black women, and no man that's trying to pull you is straight. He may be in denial about that, and he may be calling himself that, but he is not. If he's picking you over a woman, a black, white, and whatever, he's not straight.
Right.
So that's the first thing I got. And the second thing I got, delusion. You're very rich. You've been able to probably have only people around you who will engage in your delusions.
Yeah.
You don't even really seem to be comfortable being black, which that's the least surprising because there's a lot of black people out in LA, particularly rich, who are like that, who are just like very ashamed of being like the greatest thing God ever put on this earth, but whatever. And so I just I was just curious.
No. So I'll go in like reverse order in which you mentioned it, which is I did want to hone in on the self-hate thing because that's what it felt like to me watching that conversation was it's like this is, people are so caught up in saying like everybody needs to go to therapy and I'm like if he's not in therapy, she's not in therapy, like don't date them type of person. It's just like I think people forget like there are good and bad in every profession, and you can find like a bad lawyer or a good lawyer. You can find a bad doctor, a good doctor.
Right.
You can find a good therapist or a bad therapist. And unfortunately, there are a lot of bad therapists out there because therapy, it's not even like, because it's based off a lot of times your insurance. He doesn't have an issue for insurance.
They want you to keep coming back.
Yeah, but like a lot of times, when I see people who talk in therapy speak and use certain terms, but their life is in shambles, it's because they have a bad therapist. And it's that someone who's, instead of actually challenging them to become a better version of themselves, they just do a lot of affirming to make them feel good. And that is crazy to me because it feels like the way he was speaking, I was like, you've definitely spoken with the therapist. But I don't think the therapist actually got you to a place of like, not living in a delusional space and being able to actually hold yourself accountable for the things that you say and do, and to be able to properly relate to people having checked the issues you have.
And you just said a word, because people think I'm against therapy, and I'm not. I just think a lot of therapists are full of shit, number one. I think people need to remember that therapy, like everything else, is an industry.
Yeah.
And girl, if I heal you in 3 sessions, you ain't coming back.
Yes.
And that's a customer that I lost. And I think people lose sight of that. Like, girl, it's a business, just like anything else. They want you to keep coming back. So not everybody is as motivated for you to get where you need to be. Also, but a lot of people are full of shit, though. It might not be a bad therapist because, I do the true crime. And a lot of serial killers have been able to manipulate their therapy because they know, like you said, that therapy speak. They know the words to say. But they know even the tone.
When you say manipulate, I also think that points to being a bad therapist because you should be able to know that your client is doing that.
It could be.
And be able to say like, okay, I see you're trying to manipulate this relationship and cut that off.
Cut it off. Right.
I've had therapists be like, hey, I don't think this is a good match. Or like, actually, I think you're in a good place and we don't need to do any more sessions. Like that to me is a good therapist because they're looking out for you and your actual personal health and well-being and development. And the reason, I don't know what's going on with EJ in therapy, but it just sounded like that because of the words that were being used. And so I definitely think self-hate was a little bit at the root of what was being talked about and how it was being talked about. But then to your second question about, saying like are feminine, like presenting people desires in gay spaces, specifically gay men, absolutely. I think people get so like, there's this misconception to me that you have to be masculine presenting just because that's sort of the I don't know, it's almost like the non-clockable, passable type of thing where you're talking
and
about
that
being
seems to be
trans.
highly valued.
But there's so many like very feminine, flamboyant gay men who pull the tradiest of trade. I mean, the most
That's
NBA
what I see. That's why I was confused.
Professional football players. You know what I'm talking about?
I feel like I see that more than the opposite.
Yeah, so I don't know where this misconception come from. I think part of it has to do with like the media and just the stories that are presented, even in just something like television shows and movies. But let's not get it twisted. There is someone for everybody in these spaces, and it's not, and even like talking about body sizes and positivity, like you got bear communities, you got people with micro penises, and someone wants that. You know what I'm saying? Like there's someone for everybody. It is sort of insane to me when I hear like, you know, this is the thing that's most desired.
Do you think there's a racial aspect to it? Because I'm only hear that from black gay men.
Yeah, with respect to EJ,
with respect to like they want the trade, they want the passable, they want the super masculine.
But again, someone is fucking down on these feminine bad boys. Yeah. Like, I'm telling you, like, they are not wanting for dick. Like, they're getting it.
That's what I've always said. That's why I was like, is that really true?
No.
Because
no, it's really crazy to me. Especially you go into a lot of these gay spaces up in Harlem, out in the in Brooklyn, down to Atlanta.
Yeah,
like
Atlanta.
It'd be full of the queens, sis.
Yeah.
And like they're not going home alone. They are not.
I was
and they be the blouses, the feminine tops.
Not a blouse.
Seriously,
Yeah.
I'm like, y'all, listen, it is way more to it than you think. And I know there's tropes out there about like the trade. And like, I think part of it has to do, again, like culture being sort of appropriated in the spaces like drag race. And it's just like this, that, and the third. But like, let me tell you, the feminine boys and girlies, theys, thems, and hims, they are getting dick down as well. Or they are dicking down somebody else.
Yeah, because honestly, I know on our side, it's a whole lot, but but I feel like you might have hit on something with that media, because I feel like in mainstream media, but that's what gets shown, the two manly men or the two femme girls, which I'm not saying that doesn't happen, but in my world.
And honestly, think back to something that if we want to talk about media for a second. I know, like, we have a lot of us stuff we want to talk about, but I think this conversation is very important to have. Take it to something like in media, like Noah's Ark. If you remember that show, it was a show about black gay men.
Loved it.
I don't know exactly when it first aired, but I think it had like 3 or 4
Didn't it start
seasons.
on YouTube?
No. I think it was an actual full series.
But was it on? It was on that gay network. I came across it on YouTube, I believe, but it was on. Remember that? Was it brought? There used to be a network.
Not
was like
Logo.
Before Logo. In the Life or something like that.
No, I know what you're talking about. I don't know if it was on there, but
it
I think it was greenlit as like an actual series. But I just wanted to say on that show, the main character, like,
Noah,
sort of was mask presenting, but like
he
would come in like with his little, like, an actual blouse, not
actual. He had a trade.
Yeah, but that's what I'm saying.
What was the rapper's name?
Oh my god,
wasn't it Baby Bash or something like that?
I don't know, but like, and then also. The dark skinned one who was thicker and was like, he has the gif of eating the ribs that everybody be using. Like, he had
he would wear
like Trey, that big old guy, like football looking. That's what I'm saying. Like, to me, that was way more accurate representation of what it's like to be in the gay community, particularly in the black gay community, than anything we see now sometimes, because it sort of just leans into sort of like the stereotypes or the most exaggerated versions of what it means to be in these spaces, and just throwing around lingo like trade. Shut up, girl. Like,
I found out what that was. People used to call me trade, and I'm like, is that an insult? What is that? And then I found out, and I was like, oh, okay, I'll be that.
Yeah, so I'm, to put a nice little bow on that, I think that there's someone for everybody within these queer spaces, and regardless of if you are way flamboyant or super masculine, somebody wants you, somebody desires you. Now, you may have to bop around to find the spaces where those people are that want you, so you can't just walk up down into the Lambda Lounge, girl, and think you're going to get exactly what you need. Like, you're going to have to go somewhere.
To step it up.
Sometimes you got to go on your jacks, your grinders, your sniffies, whatever you may need to do to find that person, but someone wants you, I promise you. So, in terms of EJ, though, like, girl, gender neutral. Girl, get a fucking grip. Yeah. Go talk to a real therapist.
Go talk to the lady.
Start going to be in community with people who will actually tell you about yourself, because that's what it is when you get these Hollywood types, people who are ultra rich, who do not want any type of negative feedback,
and can afford to make that nest for themselves.
Exactly. And it's just like, it's just so disconnected from reality. You know, it's harsh to say it, but you are giving delusional, sis. Like,
Very.
whatever it is, you're giving
on
delusional.
multiple levels. Also, gay people need gay friends.
Oh my God.
Gay people need gay friends.
I harp on this with my husband all the time.
So many gay men that all their friends are straight women, and it's like that.
Yes. Listen, I'm hit dogs finna holler, but yes, I 1000% agree with that. And when I see, and like, I know I don't love going down to the gay bars all the time or being at the clubs, whatever, but you need to also find spaces where they are predominantly queer. Whatever you identify as, you need to be in community with those people, not all the time, but sometimes. Because when I see some people on social media and all they do is they're around straight people, they're around their straight women friends, and then their straight spouses, like, it presents a very skewed perception. This is how you sort of get, like, you know, to actually bring it back to the black community, how you can get black people who, when they take themselves out of community, that you find them on the Republican Party, you know, running for fucking senator.
And Trump and
like,
all this shit.
You know, what's his name? Not,
You talking about Big Gums? Tim something. That's what you talking about.
You know exactly what I was talking about,
yes.
bitch.
Yes.
Like, so disconnected. And what was the guy who ran for either governor down in Kentucky or the
I know talking about the
attorney general, whoever that was, that guy,
like,
married to the white woman, like, oh my God, we don't have the time, but I have a lot to say when it comes to interracial relationships.
We'll do that in June during Pride Month. We'll do
Absolutely.
all gay topics.
But yes, like, it just is a parallel to me. Like, when you take yourself out of those communities, you lose a bit of who you are. And
perspective. Somebody say, girl, you sound crazy right now. What are you talking about?
Absolutely. And so the fact that EJ has basically removed themselves from all these types of communities where they could have, like, some reality check-ins about, like, okay, this makes sense, this doesn't make sense, like, I'm actually a little out of pocket here, I'm talking crazy to people, like, sis, God bless. Like, all I'm saying is, like, whatever you are, I don't claim it. We are not in community together. That's the end. There's nothing more to say. Like, whatever you claim in, God bless you on your path, because it is not for me, and I'm not down with that. And that has nothing to do with the fact that you present that way. It is because you are Delulu.
Extremely.
All right, so enough about that. Woo, I didn't realize I had so much to say about that.
That's why I was just very curious. So we have got to talk about this.
Now, something a little bit more serious, but not getting to all the details of it. So everyone with this Iran war has a lot to say and about why the war started. Like, does Congress need to be able to declare? It doesn't. I'm not even getting into all of that because, honestly, this is not a legal podcast and it's not a political podcast. But there are things that cross over into our worlds that I do want to speak about because it impacts all of us. And particularly with this Iran war, I think one of the big things that people are not missing, and obviously the death toll of Americans, Iranians, Lebanese folks, like everybody, it's crazy because it didn't have to happen. But also, one of the underlying things that I'm seeing arise, particularly across the states, and attorney generals are like ringing the alarm, senators are ringing the alarm. They're like, hey, so this is going to be used as pretext and take control of the midterm elections. And it's going to be like, we're in a state of emergency. There's going to be potential, terrorist attacks, and we got to make sure that everything's secure. And I hate using the term stay woke. Like, use your critical thinking here and actually pay attention, because that really is, he's like trying to figure out a way to put his finger on the thumb of the scale of this election. And when I say figure out a way to put his thumb on the scale of the election, I mean to rig the election. And whether that's this stupid SAVE Act, I think it's called, where it's like voter identification, all of that shit. Like, this war to me is not really anything about like what's happening. It's more so about like what he can accomplish while it's going on, particularly stealing an election, and also
stealing another election.
Yes, another election. Then also, like, everybody knows, like, oil, money. There's so much going on there. I don't even get into the Israel piece of it because they are back there being little puppet masters as well. But I just wanted to be clear that like there are other aspects of what's going on with this Iran war than what is being talked about presently in like mainstream media. The second thing that I did want to touch on as well was it's a little close to home just because I've been in the black church for a minute. And it has always really baffled me when it came to politics with black people in the church, because you would think that based off of the history of people like Martin Luther King and like the civil rights and, you know, our alignment,
which is what the black church was created for in the first place, going back to slavery.
But there seems to have been sort of like this version of the black church and people in the black church that have aligned themselves with very, very conservative ideas and ideals, and to the point where they started to vote with the GOP, which is a bit wild to me, and I've experienced it firsthand being in black spaces that are super conservative. Obviously, you know, I'm a black gay person, so there's that piece of it. But then just like, you know, when you start to see these pastors and stuff and they get a little bit of wealth behind them and they don't want to pay taxes, and it's just like, are you about to vote Republican so that you can, you know, drink the white man's water? It's like his ice is colder? Because like, are you trying to protect like your wealth, bitch? Because they don't fuck with us. Like, they are calling you N-words to your face or behind your back. It does not matter. And it has never really clicked to me like fully like why the black people in the church would start to vote in this conservative way. And then there was a theory that I saw floating on Blue Sky recently, and it was about like Pete Hegseth and talking like basically bringing this theological aspect to the war, to the troops, and basically connecting sort of this end of the world type of revelation type of thinking to like everything that's going on with this war. And then it dawned on me, I think that's a lot of why these, you know, black Christians who vote in this way, I'm like, why aren't they speaking out against Trump and all this shit going on? And I'm just like, I think they're sort of okay with this because they think it's going to bring the end of the world and the rapture. And that is sort of crazy to me, because like, girl, what happened to no man knows the day nor the hour upon his return? And now y'all trying to plan out the end of the world by the end of Q4 2026, bitch. What the fuck? Like, it's giving nonsensical. It's giving like, use your fucking neurons, your brain cells. It's like, open the schools. Open the schools. Y'all stop going to these goddamn private Christian schools. Y'all need to use textbooks. Stop using the Bible. Get these Bibles out of these fucking schools. Oh my God. Like, use like vetted curriculum, because the fact that y'all think that everything that's been going on, everything that this man is doing, the administration is doing, is okay because it may bring about the end of the world and the fucking rapture is insane. It is Delulu.
I think you said it right there. Like, I think the what happened with the black, and I'm not a religious person, I told y'all before.
Yeah.
I just think it's all silly. That's no offense to anybody. I do have, you know, I believe in, I'm not like an atheist, or I believe in something, but like, I think religion is man-made to control people.
Yeah.
That's what I think. And I just don't fuck with none of it. However, and I don't fuck with people who need religion to be good. Like,
right.
You don't, that has nothing to do with morality.
No.
Like, nothing. It's just dogma. But I think that what happened was, the black church specifically, used to be, for hundreds of years since black people been in this country, we got here in 1619, has been subversive. And it has been, it's where it was the first refuge, because slaves they didn't control their own body. They didn't control their own selves. They were forced to work. But on Sunday, for those few hours, that was the one day where they could be free. Yeah, they were still hanging around.
Yeah.
But that's when we got to, you know, code switching and different things. People were plotting escapes in church services that they didn't know about, because we adapted. And the other thing they don't tell you is we bought a lot. They say, oh, they stripped everything from us. That's not really true.
Yeah.
Black people bought a lot of stuff with them from Africa, a whole lot. We bought a lot of our religion. We bought a lot of our culture, and we kept it as much as we could, all the way up to present day. And I didn't even know this, way more than you know until you really start history. Like, a lot of the religious things that we do, we think was from slavery. It's really not, because the region of Africa that we came from, the slave coast,
Yeah.
voodoo was the majority religion over there, and so a lot of that practice has been bought, and it was just kind of weaved into the black church, and to the point now we don't even know why you do some of the stuff you do. But that's it. But I think that the Martin Luther Kings and the civil rights movement, like we said before, that was young people. Martin Luther King was young. They were revolutionaries. They were radical. That's where you went to, hey, fuck this shit. We need to organize. Everybody was on one sound, one band, one sound, on the same page, the same goal to get free. And I think that once that we accomplished that, quote fingers, once we knocked down integration and all this stuff, people forgot that. And it started being about money, and it started being about like how many. My dad used to say this: how many pimps turn into pastors? They just sit in that pulpit pimping the way they always did. That's why it's a lot of black churches. No offense, majority women. You don't see a lot of men in there.
Yeah.
And my cousin is what he was like. Look, I know when a nigga is pimping. I know when a nigga's trying to play me, and I'm not just gonna sit up there like this dude. I'm not like I know when I'm being played. I know when I'm being like hustled, right? Yeah. And I'm just not. I'm a grown ass man. I'm not finna sit in here while you know. So, and I think what happened is the people who were like who had responsibility in the community, the Jesse Jacksons who cared about the people, who cared about progress, who cared about education. We need to get our kids into the good schools. We need to send our kids to college. Yes, we gonna read the Bible, we gonna do, but we also need to get the scholarships. We need to make sure our kids, have every opportunity. Got pushed out by the homophobia. Yep. Because a lot of y'all don't know, a lot of civil rights leaders, Bayard Rustin, a lot of them were gay. Angela Davis, Toni Morrison, a lot of these people were homosexuals. Yep. And that's just the ones we know about, got pushed out. And I think so now it's just and of course not everybody, I know that there are churches who are progressive, but like we said last week, Jesse Jackson, you might be progressive, but you don't have no juice. Right. Because you don't have the ear of the people who can make a difference. Martin Luther King was up there with the president, Lyndon Johnson, in his face. I just rewatched what's the movie? Selma, the one that Ava did. Was that Selma?
Yeah, that was Selma.
And they showed how Martin kept coming up, hey, Mr. President, it got to be now. Oh, let's wait till after. No, sir. Now. And if it's not now, we doing our march here. Come back. Sir, we got now. And he go do another march. And just kept pushing and pushing. Jesse Jackson, the same thing. We boycotting now. We not wait. No, now. Right. And they not doing it. It's all about getting on the screen. It's all about, money. It's all about, I'm pastor of such and such church.
The building fund.
The building fund, and I'm pastor such and such church, but that's it. It's not going any further than that. And I understand, I think Jamal Bryant is a really good pastor.
Yes, preacher.
I think he's a really good preacher, and I get it. And I understand. I'm not belittling talking to your congregation and letting them go out in the world. Right. But also, bro, use that influence for something good. Yeah. Use it. Hey, I got this many members. We in Georgia. We trying to flip these states. And I'm not saying they're not doing this. Right. Maybe they are and they're just not advertising it. Y'all should have been. Kamala Harris shouldn't have had to come to y'all church. Yeah. For y'all to get behind her. No. It should have all been automatic. You know what I mean? Voting drives. This is what we got to do. They got to turn us out. We got to go early so they can't fuck with us on voting day because we know they're going to try to do that shit. Go early. That's the piece that's missing. Yeah. And like Al Sharpton said, we have forgotten what got us here. We've forgotten where we come from. Yeah. And now they are taking everything that we fought for.
Literally everything.
Away. And and from everybody. Because that's the thing. Black people fought for it, but it benefited everybody. Benefited Latinos, benefited Asians. A lot of y'all forget that. Y'all think that y'all came here and you got all these opportunities because you better than us or you not us. No, you only got those opportunities because we made them give them. Yeah. And you can't just give it to one. You got to give it to all.
Sacrifice.
Right.
People died. Our leaders in the civil rights died. Not just.
Martin Luther King was shot in the face. Yes. Medgar Evers was shot. Yes. People were countless lynched that we probably will never know their names because who knows?
Oh my gosh. What is the book? Warmth of Other Sons?
Warmth of Other Sons.
That was a book. It took me so long to get through, not just because it's so long, but because some of those stories were so heavy and it can get you so enraged. Right. Because you're just like, man, we really fucking fought tooth and nail to get these right.
Just to have these little piece of shit ass kids. Now I don't want to vote. Everybody just the same. God. Jill Stein. We can afford to lose an election. No. Are you fucking stupid?
No.
And you know what else I need to correct? I was thinking about this last night. When I said that Gen X We are the last generation to have parents and grandparents that lived through that time. Actually, I said that. I should have flipped it. Gen X, me. We are the first generation to live with full rights.
Right.
We were the first generation to live with full rights, because Gen X, we were from 1970 to 1980. I know they switch it, but to me, 1970, 1980. 1970, the Civil Rights Act was 1965. 1968, they were still fighting it.
Yeah.
Okay, 1975, they just started bussing. So my generation, we are the first ones that live with full rights.
Yeah.
That 400 years before, no other black people had lived with. Okay?
Yeah.
So when you think about it like that, that's crazy. I was like, wait a minute, because people are like, oh, Gen X, you dropped the ball. And we did. But if you look at it like that, I don't know if it's so much that we dropped the ball as we had 400 years of ancestors who had fought, died, lynched, bled to finally get what they had fought for, and they handed it to us.
Yeah.
Go do. So that's what we did. We went to school. We had the number one. We had the most HBCU students, most college students. We all went to school.
Yep.
And I know we had our bad element, but you look at the stats. We all went to school. There was a surge of college applications. We went to our Yales. We went to our Harvards. We went to our HBCU. We took advantage of the rights that had just been secured for us. So, no, we wasn't like kind of marching because it's like, oh no, babe, we here, we done met here, go,
right.
you know, don't let them sidetrack you. And that's another thing that I noticed between my generation, your generation. We were very much told, don't let them side. Yes, it's race. Yes, it's this, that. But this is how you get your education. You get in the roles, and then you make the change. You don't let these motherfuckers sidetrack you.
No.
You don't let them knock you off your square. Yeah, the microaggressions. Yeah, that's nice, Katie. Right, get out the way, because you can say whatever fuck you want to, Katie. We sitting in the same lecture hall, getting the same material, and bitch, I'm getting an A. I don't know what grade you getting, but I'm getting an A. So you say whatever the fuck you want to say. We didn't let that crumble us. We didn't let that bother us.
No.
We didn't care so much about that.
I think you're so right, though. And this, I mean, we keep coming back to this. I know Black History Month is over, but it is so, so important because people forget so quickly everything that it took to get to this place. I mean, we were what? The next generation after you, and we have people who are considered millennials who were able to get tripped up by, you know, these snake oil people, like these people who literally, they're just coming in here like with an agenda to actually break up the unity of the black community.
Or not even agenda, just stupid.
Or just stupid. They're just not smart.
Think I see so many, again, in Philly, we call them hotep. Woke started out as a joke, guys.
Right.
It was a way to make fun of those kind of people who were so smart they were dumb. You know what I mean? Like, who was just every conspiracy theory in the world. And it's like, brother, it's like, you know, the windows on the bus is real big. Why? Because black people ride the bus and they want to embarrass us. Stay woke, my brother. That's where it came from.
And
like,
they had those characters in the 90s and like all of our black shows
like, had one of those.
Whether it was in jail, it was someone who was on a bus, it was someone who down at the community center.
They made a whole movie about it. What the Keenan Ivory Wayans movie? What was it? What was the name of that?
Not No Man Menace Society.
I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker.
Was it that one? Yeah.
I think it was that one. They had a whole. It used to be a joke in the 90s. I don't know how that got
greenlit
into a political movement. It's a joke. It was making fun because they would usually say, "Hey, brother, don't sleep," and you'd be like, "Stay woke." It was a joke.
Yes, you are so right. But wow, we completely got so far away from that. But it does connect to the fact that we have just sort of like these people who are now quote unquote leaders in the black church who are just so disconnected from what the root of the purpose was and how it was meant to like advance and further and push, like people. Bring the community to like, you know, the next level of what it means to be treated as, you know, civilians within the society. And now you just sort of have these leaders buying into this bullshit. Like, anyway, that's all I wanted to say with that respect to, you know, black churches and the Iran war and conservatives.
What happened to us? Al Sharpton said, what happened to us? We used to be, ain't nobody gonna turn me around. I am somebody. We used to be very positive, very affirmative. And now, and I think it's how the kids are being raised, but we're not gonna get off on that.
And then the last thing I sort of wanted to say with respect to this war and how it's really, it just makes me feel so gross. And I knew once we started to allow gambling in across the country,
Who could think that would go wrong?
that we would get to this point. But like these fucking prediction markets, you have people who are literally waging bets on when the next strike's going to happen, when the first strike, how many people are going to die, and they're making money, and not like $15-$20. We had, and it's like insider information too, so it's probably people in the fucking administration
so that they can win the money,
making millions of dollars in prediction markets. Who could have foreseen this, bitch? Like, even within the sports context, like, you have the professional players who are now in on it, who are throwing games,
and
bitch.
getting caught doing it, by the way.
Like, this is insane, but to now have it spill over into real world, like, conflict.
Which is why sports gambling was illegal in the first place.
Right.
We are all learning the dumbest lessons because these are things that we already knew.
Like, it's so frustrating to me. There's no regulation in these fucking prediction markets. You have people who are literally using insider information, like they are learning it from the government. Like, it goes back to the beginning of this current administration when they were using, what was it, fucking Signal or whatever, and Pete Hegseth is just throwing reporters in there talking about, you know, impending military strikes and being like, he you know, hacked to get in. No, bitch. He screenshotted when you added him into that. And so I have to believe that this is the most unsecure, like, unconfidential administration ever. And because of that, or you have the intentionality of sharing information with people so that people can make a quick buck. I feel like it's so gross. I think that we need, like, obviously Congress ain't gonna do shit with the current way it's set up, but like, it makes me feel so terrible at the state of our country that people think that's okay, and they're like, instead of being like, oh, let's stand up against this, let's raise our voices and say we want some regulation behind this, people are just giving in and just being like, okay, well, like, put 50 on that for me.
So we are learning the dumbest lessons because time is a cycle, and there was a time that this is not the first time that we've been this dumb, but this is the first time that I think it will, and it's probably for the best, gonna end in a disastrous, humiliating defeat for the United States.
Yeah.
And it might just be what has to happen because, like you said, we have been trying to talk sense to you people for 10 years, and we have been trying to point things out.
Yep.
And guardrails exist for the dummies. It doesn't exist. Like, listen, we're the talented 10th. People with degrees, people who have graduated, people who read real things and like know what's going on. Unfortunately, we are the talented 10th, and we are. That's why I said I'm not gonna get outraged no more because I realize that it's
not doing nothing.
It don't do nothing, and sometimes you just gotta touch the hot stove and burn to learn. Okay, and this war, all that you said is correct. This administration, everybody in it, is so incompetent and stupid and showing for all these people who love Trump because he's going to get rid of all the necessary it's necessary. It's there for a reason.
Right.
It works really well, and you have been so safe that you don't. It's like the guy that's in the bubble that after a while forgets he's in the bubble and just thinks that air is super clear and he has no neighbors and it never rains because you're in a bubble, bitch. Somebody built that bubble around you to protect you. We have been so safe for so long that people think we don't need vaccines because nobody I know has measles because of vaccines, bitch. Because we have made it too safe. And so now we made it so safe that you voted for these guys because you think whatever the fuck you thought, I don't know. And now we are finding out. Iran is going to be, there's no way that we are winning this. There is a reason that no other president, they bomb all around.
Right.
They'll bomb all around. But there's a reason they ain't fuck with Debo. Okay?
Yeah.
Because once you start, you cannot stop. And I honestly think they did that because they thought it was going to be a big moment. We bombed Iran. These people are so stupid.
Right.
They had no knowledge that these people are not just going to let you bomb them and not do anything. I've been in the Middle East. If y'all know, I've been there as a not as a combat member, but I've been there in my prior job. Persia, I call it Persia because I give them the respect they deserve. Is not for play.
No.
Okay?
They
They're
don't fuck
not
around.
for play. They are the big dogs in the Middle East going way back to antiquity. It's not the Arabs. It's not Israel. It's not Qatar. Persia was one of the first civilizations on Earth, and they have never forgotten it.
Nope.
And they know who they are, and they know where they came from.
Big ass country with a big ass population. I mean,
that has
deserts to forests to beautiful, like everything in between.
They know who they are.
Listen, like you said, there was a reason why past administrations knew not to touch that third rail. Because now, bitch, they are activating sleeper cells across the fucking world.
Persia been whipping ass since before Bible days.
Like, this is mind you, they don't give a fuck too about either neighbor, and like, you know, we share a common
because
heritage.
They don't start none, won't be none.
They're like, Egypt, you can get it, bitch. Saudi Arabia, we got you too, ho. Like, everybody.
All of that used to be Persia. If y'all watched the 300, that movie, that Xerxes, that was Persia.
Yeah,
that's
that
how
big
long
ass army.
Them motherfuckers been whooping ass.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I just had a few things I wanted to say around the Iran war because it is a war. I don't care what they say. He's just like, it's a military exercise, bitch.
Nah.
The oil's cut off.
And people
straight
are
up
dying.
Hormuz, bitch.
And people are dying.
Like it is a war, and now we're in it. Like we can't back out. We can't just be like, JK,
the only
just
back
kidding.
out is a defeat.
No, so we're in it to the end now,
surrender.
Unfortunately. But we don't have to have these godforsaken prediction markets. We don't have to have these black Christians rooting on the end of the world, bringing on the end of days. And also, we need to secure these goddamn elections.
If that's what they think, why don't you go join the army of the Lord? I don't understand why y'all sitting around. If that's what y'all think, go die for the Christ. Why you around here?
I'm a soldier.
Right. Like, if that was what I thought I had my shit on, let's go. Let's go.
It's like, bitch, son.
Y'all still watching Netflix. I don't understand.
Yeah. So, anyway, that's all we wanted to say about that. I know you had some things you wanted to say about the whole political spectrum when it comes to our side of the equation: Democrats, white liberals, progressives.
Yeah, I kind of already said it. I just kind of alluded to it, where we just I feel like since the 70s or something, like we used to say, you guys, this. Not even so much millennials, but I think millennials started it because y'all was real hard on the Hillary Clinton with her emails, and we tried to tell y'all don't do that dumb shit.
It wasn't even just the emails though. I think it really was the super predator shit. You remember that? They was like really in her like press conferences, being like what? She's like, I wasn't the president, girl. I wasn't the president. Number one, she was misquoted, but number two, a lot of things you just had to be there. And yes, some things hindsight is 20/20, girl. But let me tell you something.
It was
bad.
Back then, people was crack.
It was bad.
Was really bad, and crack. And another thing, a lot of what we see now with the literacy and stuff, that's because y'all the victims of crack too. Y'all just don't know it. But anyway, crack was really bad. And believe it or not, that super predator. Nobody blinked.
No.
Because it made sense. Because if y'all listen, you just had to be there. That is not a violence or an environment that you. Even now, all these years later, when I think about like just the random shit that we would have to just endure.
Yeah.
My blood pressure, like I get PTSD because you guys have no idea. Stuff like walking home from school and just every now and then changing your route up.
Right.
Just because, I don't know. Somebody might be trying to follow me. I don't know what's going to happen. It might be a shootout on this block.
Mm-hmm.
They ain't had one in a few days. Just, you guys have no idea. There's no movie that can depict this. Some have gotten close.
It's like cities that were literally, you told me that your dad wouldn't let you go down to the University of Miami because he was like, he's like, all of the drug cartels are down
all
there.
Of the drug cartels.
He was like, you will die. And like,
shooting out in the middle of the street.
They were shooting up the malls. Not
malls.
Just like,
just jumping out the van with AK
down to like
1 in the afternoon.
The crack houses, they were like walking down whatever the main streets are in Miami.
Salons.
Like it was bad.
Shooting into people's houses because you just not for any reason, just so we want to make sure y'all don't snitch. So we gonna it was bad.
And it wasn't just like people getting like gun wounds. murder. These were
Murders,
murder. It would be
children,
like
old
15 people killed
anybody.
today. 30 people killed today off this one shootout.
Right.
It was not good.
Not good. It was very bad. And so that's another thing that irritates me, that people to act like they don't understand anything before they were born. Listen, whatever bad crime you grew up, because somebody was like, well, yeah, you think our crime wasn't bad? No, I don't think your crime was bad. I'm be quite frank with you, because
No.
I grew up in the 80s and 90s. So no, I don't think your crime was bad. You guys came up after all of that was over. After the crime spike was over, you guys came
Yeah.
up in very safe times. Yeah, you might have still had a shootout now and then, but not like us. Like, we're not exaggerating at all.
Yeah.
There were people who slept in their bathtubs because of how often they'd be shot. So, but what happened was, we used to be one band, one sound, because our grandparents and our parents would tell us, stop listening to white folks. They don't have the same stakes as you. They don't live their life. They rich. Most of them are rich. Most of them are tweeting from their little fucking loft that their parents pay for down in Tribeca, talking about, I'm not voting for Hillary because she took APAC money. Bitch, if Hillary Clinton don't win, you're going to be fine. The rest of us are not. Affirmative action is going to be stripped away. Women's rights are going to be stripped away. And you guys, because you think that the white man's ice is colder, and your grandparents, because they don't have their fancy degrees and maybe they don't speak the best English, that they don't know anything. But them motherfuckers made it all the way from 1619 to get your ass to the point where you could be so fucking dumb and so fucking naive that you could do the shit that you do, and you need to cut it out. Because they don't have the same stakes that we do. No. And a lot of them are racist too. They're just not Klan hood racist, but people forget in the 60s you had the Ku Klux Klan and you had the White Citizens Council, and they was two sides. These were the businessmen, like Al said, on Wall Street with their nails manicured, but it was the same thing. And a lot of you are being very goofy, and you letting these people lead you down these Mark Lamont Hills and the Jill Steins and the Nina Turners that are getting paid.
Bros,
the podcast bros that are getting
America
paid.
Bros, like the Ezra Kleins, like. Do you hear what they're actually saying?
No.
Like, just for an example, they are rallying behind a person who has a Nazi tattoo on their chest.
Everybody has a Nazi tattoo.
Like, what are you talking about? This is what I was saying. Like, white people, back to the BAFTA thing, white people are so willing to forgive racism because everybody's a little racist. We all had a little racist past. We all got a little Nazi tattoo.
And not just willing to forgive. Over and over again, ignoring the people whose survival depends on being able to identify these things. 92% of us did not vote for Kamala. I know y'all think we just vote for the black candidate, but we ain't vote for that, what's that raggedy head lady that ran in Virginia?
Who?
The was Spear, the one that was.
Yeah.
We ain't vote for her. We don't vote for these Trump people to come out because we're not just looking at skin color like you guys do. You keep ignoring when we tell you over and over again, the sheep has to know everything about the wolf, because if they don't, they're gonna be dead. Okay, and if the sheep is running, you need to run, bitch. That means something's coming. But y'all standing there, this is no big deal. And here come the wolf running. Like, y'all keep not listening to us because y'all think we're stupid. Y'all think that we do everything by we know y'all better than y'all know yourselves. We know y'all better because we had to, our very survival depended on it. Our very survival, y'all owned us.
Literally, like, we had to be able to be in these spaces and know when to hit the exit. I mean,
and who is a racist and who is less of a racist. Both of these motherfuckers are racist, but this guy over here, I can work with. This guy over here, he will hang me from a tree. He
will turn up at the middle of the night and put that burning cross in my versus the person who, they may say the N-word, but they're just like, you know what? I'll let you have your little rights.
I can play this man right here who thinks I'm dumb, who thinks I'm a silly nigga, who thinks I can't read, even though I'm standing in the room while he's teaching his son how to read, not picking everything up, but he thinks I'm dumb. I can use him to move maybe a half a step forward. This motherfucker right here, I can't use at all. And that's what you guys miss. Your grandparents weren't stupid. They weren't docile. They knew this guy, not Nixon. Because Nixon, we going to be in bad trouble with him. We got to vote for him. Oh, he's racist too. Yes.
It's different.
But I can use this one. This one I can't use. And that's what y'all keep getting caught with your foot in the trap because you don't want to listen. When we tell you that motherfucker, they are running him so that Jasmine will lose because they're afraid of Jasmine, because they know Jasmine gonna get in there and shake shit up.
Yeah.
They want this motherfucker to run because they know he gonna be a non-fucking factor.
Yeah.
And they gonna run him, and they gonna say the right shit, and as soon as y'all elect him, he gonna flip.
Yeah.
And you know how you could tell something, not even sneaky, a motherfucker with a Nazi tattoo, you shouldn't vote for them.
Yeah, I mean, it's even if he's truly sorry about
even
getting
if he's
that
truly
shit.
sorry, the judgment is lacking.
Absolutely,
and that's enough to not vote for somebody.
You did that as an adult. This was not you at your full frontal cortex,
right?
Not developed at 21, 22.
Right.
Like, sir,
and didn't have sense enough to cover it up.
Yes,
Trump. These people get up there and they say I have no plans. I have obvious signs that this is not somebody that you should give responsibility to, and you just do it anyway.
Yeah.
And then say, who knew?
Yeah. So I totally agree that we've got to sort of stop following behind people who just sound good and
tell you what you want to hear,
tell you
make
what you want to
feel
hear.
good.
It's like you got to pay attention to what they do, not what they say.
Watch what they do, not what they say.
And I think a lot of people, they just have such poor discernment. They don't understand
because they're emotional. It's all about your fucking emotions. And get out of that.
And I get frustrated because I'm just like, hey, so someone has like a full track record here that you can actually judge what they've done. And again, they may be sorry. They may be able to say like, oh, that was a mistake. And that's fine. But, you're not going to be entrusted with, the keys to the kingdom.
Because you make bad decisions. But you know what else pisses me off? That motherfucking lady in Maine that's running, she might be old, but from day one, she has been telling Trump, kiss my ass, I will see you. Janet Mills. Kiss my ass, I will see you in court. And taking that motherfucker to court over every fucking thing.
Right.
Not letting him talk to her any kind of way and beating his fucking ass. And that's who you should be voting for. I don't give a fuck how old she is.
Right.
That's who you should be voting for. Because since day one, she been giving that motherfucker the blues. But no, y'all want to vote for the white boy. And I get age is a factor.
Yes.
I get that. But I'm going with her and letting her hold that spot. And then letting her identify somebody else that should come in there, because I want that.
Right, and if age is not such of a factor, then just find a better candidate who can, has the juice just like her, which is, for the last thing, because we are almost out of time, I know we want to talk a little bit about, how within sort of, the Democratic side of the equation.
I'm so sick of them.
That there's been no real effort to put people in positions to pass the mantle to, and so now you have these octogenarians, these people who are literally, who knows how many more single-digit years they have left on this earth. They are in charge of leading, the resistance to the current administration, and that's not. We're not going to downplay anything that they've done in the past, because it's not like they didn't do very important things to get us to where we are, but part of being a good leader is preparing the next generation of leaders, because you can't be at the top the whole time.
And shouldn't be.
Your tactics are not the tactics that are needed necessarily in today's, political arena. You have to actually think, if you are truly caring about your mission, the people you represent, the country as a whole, this would have been something you had built into your plan of leaving politics or going to an emeritus status of being an advisor, being into people's ears, being like, hey man, you may be the face of this, but I'm going to be over here advising you with everything that I know.
Yeah, just being wisdom. It's not that we want you guys out completely to pasture, but even we both already graduated college. We already have our degrees. We old. We can't, we old. So to be 85, that's just, the most of your life has already passed. You are not you cannot be worried about me, us. I understand that y'all, I don't even know how you get into college anymore. I don't even know what you need to get into college anymore. And I think y'all should go to college, but that's not what's pressing me. What's pressing me is we tired of supporting every fucking body.
Yeah.
That's what's pressuring us. We got the young motherfuckers ain't got no money. Old motherfuckers ain't got no money. We ain't got no tax breaks.
I'm giving out the tax breaks. Money to the cousins, the nieces, but also like the grandparents. It's like,
and then nobody want to listen. They want us to take care, but nobody want to take our advice. Nobody want to listen to us.
Yeah.
So my point with that is like it is inexcusable. You are a poor leader, actually.
Yeah.
If you have gotten to that point and you don't have, there is nobody that you can point to bring up, because the Republicans, they've been on it for the past 30-40 years. They recognize that shit after Bob Dole. Remember Bob Dole? They recognized that shit and they went young, and that's why they doing the wrestling, and that's why they doing the video games, and that's why they doing these podcasts to get their little Hitler youth raised up. Meanwhile, and then when you get because people will say, oh well, they should be able to come in younger. How? How they gonna do it? Because did you back Kamala Harris begrudgingly and way too late?
Yeah.
Did you back AOC? No.
No.
Did you back Jasmine Crockett? No. And then when they get there anyway, you blocking them from all the committees. You blocking them from the places where they can get that experience to take the realm. You don't want them on there. Oh, they gotta wait their turn. Bitch, you 85 years old. You done had all the fucking turns, bitch. Get the fuck out the way.
Yeah, and then when you do have people who seem to get into some of those positions of leadership, not to say that he's totally an F, but it's people like Hakeem Jeffries, who's, Nancy Pelosi's little protege.
And so it should be more options than him.
He's using the same tactics as her, which aren't really effective at this point.
And not needed at this point.
Like, girl, like I understand, like, there's a place for you within, the party, but like to have people in such important roles who are just running the same playbook as the people that just are stepping down as them is insane.
A wartime consigliere. You can learn a lot by watching The Godfather 1. We need a wartime consigliere. Every consigliere, Tom was for peacetime, for business. We go on to war now. We need somebody who can guide us in that. Yes, go blow that whole motherfucking building up, because we need to make a motherfucking point. This is not the time for negotiating. Right. That type of stuff. We need wartime consiglieres. We are in wartime. These motherfuckers, and I don't think they're gonna win. I don't know how. I feel like we're just too far gone now. People not going back to segregation. We just not going back to it. You know, I think. I don't know. Just incompetent and stupid. And I think it's gonna collapse under the weight of its own stupidity. I could be wrong, but that's just what I think. But like, it's a failure of leadership if you have not done that, and the Democrats have not done that, and that has been their own fault. Kamala Harris, one of her proteges was Jasmine Crockett. Yeah. She's very good at reaching out. Anytime you talk to her, she'll tell you about somebody young. The lady that just won in Virginia, what's her name? Spanberger. She'll mention the name of somebody that may not, people may not know, but it's up and coming. But that's what you have to do. If you are dying in your seat like Ruth Bader Ginsburg, that's a failure, because those motherfuckers are waiting for that. Right. You know what? Let's wait for her to die, and then we're gonna get that seat. Right. They strategize. They've been trying to do this since 1965, and they're finally coming up, and we just been fucking around. I don't know what, but we need to get our shit together.
Yeah, I completely agree. It's time to pass the baton for a lot of these elder leaders, and it's going to be to everyone's detriment if they do not. And we are already feeling the effects and the ramifications of it currently.
We are backs against the wall.
It'll be a minute, and honestly, probably next generation, not really our lifetime, once they finally get their shit together, because the damage is done. If we really want to talk about it, it all goes back to the Supreme Court, which is illegitimate at this point.
Illegitimate. It all goes back to the Supreme Court. It all goes back to Citizens United. Do you guys know that if you had voted for Hillary Clinton, our future would be secured for the next 100 years? Because she would have filled those seats. Who knows what came behind her would have filled those seats, and we would have been free.
Strategy.
But no.
Strategy. That is the thing I wanted to
get out of your feelings.
Like, if you want things to be better, you need to use strategy, and that means making sure the right people in the right spots. And it can't just be who makes me feel a certain way.
Picking your battles and knowing when to let shit go, and knowing when, you know what, that motherfucker's a snake, but he's our snake.
Yeah. And
we know what corners he's going to crawl in, and we know what he looks like when he's going to bite, and we actually need a snake.
Right. Well, we really have given the gamut today of topics, but thank you so much for listening again to
Yes.
our podcast. Sorry for the delay. Things happen with schedules, but we were
Life be life.
life and me life in, and guess what? You got a new episode right now.
Yeah, we've been pretty regular. So.
Absolutely.
And we appreciate y'all for listening. Everybody hitting me up. I know they hit you up. They're liking this, and we appreciate it. And that's kind of what we wanted. And we're gonna keep evolving. Eventually we'll probably have some guests. We're gonna get it together even more and make it more tight for y'all. But thank you.
Yes, and don't forget to follow us on the socials. Right. It's at In Charge of the Girls Pod on TikTok, Insta. Not using that Facebook nonsense.
No.
But yeah, like and subscribe on YouTube. I forgot.
Right.
That's where you're probably watching this.
Right.
Like and subscribe on YouTube.
Drive us up.
At In Charge of the Girls Pod. And comment. We be commenting too. We be seeing y'all. Little kiki here and there. But yeah, until next time.
All right, peace.
Bye.